It is a great honor to very specially welcome you to a very special edition. Special edition. Well, the reason is not far-fetched, because when you are so privileged and honored to speak with one of the most revered elder statesmen in this country, and by extension, a man of multidimensional perspective and of course discipline, when we look at his pedigree, then you also understand why, for us, the entire crew of Issues and Trends with Obafemi Craig find it and see it as a privilege and an honor to be so given the rare opportunity to so speak this day with this very special elder statesman. Well, for whatever it is, you will get to meet him after this break. But thanking you for joining us on this very special edition with a very special guest on the show here today on Issues and Trends with Obafemi Craig. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Well, I was just giving you a preamble of the profiling of my guest on the program today. And if whatever word of the word you want to use, and so describing him as an iconic figure in the Nigerian state, an elder statesman in the Nigerian state, and of course an enigma of referencing when it comes to what he so symbolically represent, then you cannot in any way but agree that indeed his name alone is synonymous with that which the Bible said, "Seest thou a man so diligent in his work, who will not sit with low men, but with men of honor and integrity." So for him, his beginning is a story to tell. His involvement is another dimension of story that we must know. So for me, in a very simplistic format, my only way to let you understand this is just to give you a short explanation, or rather introductory note of him. Some have said that he is a developmental economist. Are they wrong to say that? That is one question at one side. And some said that he's an administrator by excellence. How do we also define that in this narrative? Is just another thing on its own. And some say that whether we like it or not, his name is synonymous as a philanthropist of reckoning and a man of great stride. And of course, others said about him that when you look at his activities and his committed role in service to humanity, they said that he's an entrepreneur with another how do they explain it, with another sense of reckoning in his profiling. And above it all, he's been referred to for his communal service to the community, for his dedication to the community, for the fundamental role he has played in Lagos State. They have referred to him as the Agbaki of Ireland. My dear viewers at home, I am proud that today we are having this privilege to speak with High Chief Tunde Fanimokun. Sir, with all due respect, sir, it is a great honor to be here to sit before you for this very special interview with you.
Thank
you for the honor, sir.
You are most welcome.
Thank you, sir. Well, let us start from the very beginning of the good news that came to the entire Lagosians and Nigerians at large, when it was reported that just on Friday last week, you were respectfully and nobly honored by the premier university in Nigeria, the University of Ibadan, with an award as an ambassador extraordinary to the university. If we may ask, how does this make you feel to be so honored with such an honor of honor while you are still very much here with us?
Thank you very much. To be honest with you, I was elated and excited.
You were elated and you were excited.
I was elated and never expected the honor given to me. They also added, henceforth I should be addressed as His Excellency.
Henceforth you should be addressed as His Excellency.
Thirdly, they mentioned that in the history of UI, which is 76-year-old, I happen to be the single largest benefactor of the university.
the single largest benefactor of the university in its 80 years plus of existence. 77 years of existence.
I feel really excited. And they honored me with all sorts of pictures. One of them with that one. They put in front of me my picture and my role model, my godfather, Jack Ondi to the right, Folawiyo to the left, and I said you should add two more. Mobolaji Johnson, who selected me among the foundation graduates to establish Lagos State.
He selected you among the foundation graduates to establish Lagos State.
And he gave us the instruction, Lagos State must be great.
Lagos State must be great.
Lagos State must excel. Lagos State must be great. All the things he said that one has become the reality today. But when Lagos State was created, Mobolaji Johnson was given nothing more than 10 million naira to start the state. He relied on those of us, the pioneers, to source for new revenue, to develop and to cost long story short. As of today, it's a joy that Lagos State is the smallest in size, is the biggest in population, is the largest economy, is the most prosperous, and when you look back to Mobolaji Johnson's days, I think he must be happy in his sleep that he has achieved what he set out to do.
For the vision of Lagos.
For the vision of Lagos. And for those of us who form part of the foundation, is for everlasting happiness.
For those of you who form part of the foundation, is everlasting happiness, joy to you. We are coming to that because some said to us that you are the architect of modern Lagos today. How true that is, we'll come to that, sir, with all due respect, Your Excellency. Now, let us take it from this dimension. Some see you as a developmental economist, and your pedigree, your profiling speaks volume of all of this. Why have you chosen this path of honor in service to your state, in service to the community, in service to humanity, and in service to the joy of what you love most in doing?
I think it's God's wish and His divine guidance. I attended University of Future, Faculty of Social Sciences, and I graduated in economics as my specialty. But as for my second choice, I opted for sociology, and that is studying the society at various levels. When you combine economics with sociology, the resultant effect is development economy. Every society will pass through certain stages like any other country, industrial revolution, the slave trade period, whatever it is. There are good interest in combining economics with sociology. And over the time, since my experience, that has been my major area of interest. More importantly, when I was selected among the foundation graduates for Lagos State Government, I was specially selected to be groomed in economic departments.
To be groomed in economic department.
All my life, I worked through economic department, by training, both locally and abroad, mainly for economic development. So I have interest in economics, combined with sociology, and my exposure put it in my hand, developmental issues. That has been my calling all my life since I joined Lagos State.
So you want to agree with me, Your Excellency, what people said about you when you responded to a question they asked in looking at your commitment of service to humanity? And you were asked a very pertinent question. And the question was, why were you doing this, or why are you doing this for humanity? And you said this, let me quote you. You said, I'm doing all of this from the bottom of my heart. Yes. And you said, what God has given me is for the development of Nigeria. Is that right?
That is 100% correct. I see myself as an instrument of God to try to transform Lagos State, and I played my role very, very well, and to my joy and to my satisfaction. All my accomplishments attribute to God Almighty.
And you are so glad that you've done all of this committedly, dedicatedly, to the joy of your heart and service to your calling from God.
Yes, and to my conscience, for selfless service.
To your conscience,
A
for selfless service.
Total commitment, dedication with all honesty, without any blemish whatsoever. That is part of the joy I'm looking back to today. When we were so recruited by Mobolaji Johnson, he gave us about 5 guidelines. If you must keep the flag flying, you must always remain tall, and at that time I would laugh. Mobolaji Johnson was a 6-footer. When he said I should tall, am I going to grow up again? Again is that integrity, you should never play with integrity. And at the time of the first military probe, Mobolaji Johnson was one of the 2 state governors that were exempted from any probe. Ditto for Jakonde, the first civilian, I worked with him too. He was also a visionary leader, and he was also totally committed. I bought all this from them, and by the time I moved over to the private sector to work with Chief Olawio, I now appreciated entrepreneurship, philanthropy, and helping your community. All rolled together is the joy I'm celebrating at 80.
Okay, before I take you on again, you said this as another quote when you were also asked concerning the economy of the Nigerian state by some of my colleagues in the media. And you said this to them, that diversification is the only, and you said with emphasis, the only remaining turning point for Nigerian economy, instead of excessive dependence on revenue from oil and gas as a monocultural economy, over dependence on importation, as well as stagflation, youth unemployment, criminal neglect of agricultural production, and conspicuous absence of visionary leadership with lack of development. Those were your words.
That sums it all.
How do we interpret this which you have said again?
Diversification, for example, is the missing link in Nigeria.
Diversification is the missing link in Nigeria.
Yes.
Your Excellency, what do you mean?
Immediately we discovered oil, our oil boom turned to oil doom.
Our oil boom turned to oil doom.
We neglected agriculture, which is God-given. We did not look beyond our nose because money was rolling in, and we did not prepare the foundation for the future. Whereas education and sustainable development are inseparable in any economy.
Education and sustainable development
they are
inseparable
in any economy. Education is the passport for the future. So any country that neglects agriculture, that did not prepare its young ones for the future, that did not nurture them, did not provide entrepreneurship, we are creating a lot of problems. So much dependence on importation and so much over-reliance on oil boom that has turned oil boom. So that summary captures it all. If you had done it the way it should have been done, development-wise, we will not be where we are today. Nigeria is naturally blessed country. So blessed that some people envy us. I remember a quotation attributed to Aliko Dangote. He said, the greatest secret of the world is Nigeria.
The greatest secret of the world
is Nigeria.
Quoting Aliko Dangote.
And he was using himself as an example. How he started with 500,000 loan from his uncle, bringing goods in the boot of his car to Lagos, and see what it is today. The richest man in Africa. There is hardly anything he touched that has not become successful, whether in oil, whether in gas, whether in sugar, whatever. So the opportunities in Nigeria are so vast that you can become whatever you want, given the right atmosphere, the right environment, and the right encouragement by government. So what is lacking is that leadership pattern and orientation to help the young ones.
Well, you said something here, sir. I am so deeply touched. Talk about leadership failure.
Yes.
Aside the fact that you have affirmed the fact that if Aliko Dangote can attest and can be a reference to the greatest secret of the world today is Nigeria, means that Nigeria is blessed.
Yes.
That is by extension of what you are saying.
Naturally.
But before I ask you that, do you still believe in the Nigerian dream? Do you still believe in Nigeria as an entity that will still overcome its challenges of today?
100% I believe Nigeria will survive. 100% I believe it's God's destiny that Nigeria should survive. 100% I believe Nigeria is a natural leader of Africa. 100% I believe absence of leadership. As Chino Abekiwe said, the simple and surest problem we have is lack of leadership.
The simple and surest problem we have is lack of leadership.
So also there, with the right leadership, what happened to Singapore? Within 30 years, its leader turned it around. It's now a corruption-free country. It's now one of the first world countries. It's now up there, all because of leadership. So with the right leadership, Nigeria could become, and it's not an impossible task, given the right atmosphere.
Now, for leadership, what will you say about leadership in this country? Would you say they have failed, or we still believe that things can be put in the right perspective?
Leadership at the national level has totally failed, has misled us to where we are. We are so dependent on importation that we neglected our God-given resources. We are not doing the right thing for the young one in terms of education. We are not promoting entrepreneurship, which is the basis, and we are not diversifying enough to do that one. I formed up this one when I came out of the public service, and I was working with Chief Olawiyo. After 7 years of working with him, I asked him, Baba, how did you come into business? And he gave me a story.
He gave you a story.
It formed the first book I wrote on Olawiyo when he turned 70. And my prediction was that there could be many more Olawiyo, many more of Dragote, many more of Adenuga if we did the right thing. And the right thing could only come from the leadership. And that is the point I was making, that everything we require is already given to us. It's a question of management, how to manage our abundance.
How to manage
our abundance.
Our abundance.
That is the greatest problem Nigeria has. We have wasted a lot of resources. Issues that should not be entertained, and one of them is corruption. But I don't want to.
Well, I'm coming to that. There is no way I will not infer that reference, sir, because part of your pedigree and integrity, your capability as a renowned elder statesman today, is your untainted, unblemished record that you have left for humanity on the footprints of time to really see as a reference in today. But let us start, if we must go into that. Before we go into that again, I want to divert a little. You are quoted, and I'm quoting you, sir, again, Your Excellency, that you are a strong believer in entrepreneurship. Why have you so stated that? Or why did you so state that with affirmative statement of conviction?
3 principal reasons.
3 principal reasons.
Number 1, I discovered much later that Jakonde engaged in entrepreneurial ventures even as a public officer. First one was what I learned later, that Jakonde, my boss, my role model, engaged in entrepreneurial ventures even in government service. By examples of what he did, entrepreneurship means nothing than innovation.
Entrepreneurship means nothing other than innovation. Creativity inclusive?
Creativity, making things happen, irrespective of resources that you have. You may not have the money, but you have the talent and the will and the environment, you get to where you are going. So entrepreneurship was made a living subject when I worked with Jakonde. When I moved over, I left government on a Friday, and Chief Olawiyo engaged me to work in his company the following Saturday. I worked for Olawiyo now for 40 years.
For 40 good years?
By last year, it was exactly 40 years. What I learned from Olawiyo was entrepreneurship. After working with him for 7 years, I said, Baba, how did you come into this venture? And he gave me his life story. It formed the first book I wrote on Olawiyo when he turned 70, that many more Olawiyo could be produced. While in government too, I had an encounter with some budding entrepreneurs. One of them is Mike Adenuga. Mike Adenuga walked into my office, unknown to me. I was meeting him for the first time, and by the time he finished his dream for Nigeria, I discovered this would be a potential job creator for Nigeria.
Are you disappointed today about him?
Not at all. I welcome his idea. He was not looking for land to build houses. Said he wanted a place to make his business empire. And that is what we have now along Adeola Odeku. I offered him that land. Jakonde approved it, and we processed it for him. And from that beginning, when I hear about Mike Adenuga, I feel happy that I was instrumental to helping me achieve his dream. So those are the type of encouragement that gave me that the dream of Nigeria will come true if we encourage entrepreneurship.
The dream of Nigeria will come true if we encourage entrepreneurship.
Encourage in all senses, including providing resources, access for the young ones, giving them opportunities, giving them technology. That is the basis of our development.
Your Excellency, you are still looking young, energetic and active. Even at 80, you're not looking it. Even your interfacing with me is even a surprise at the way you're articulating your mental intelligent quotient is surprising to me. Sound and strong. And the question will be, you are still alive and your dream is to leave a legacy that will forever not be forgotten. Are you still giving advisory counsel to the leadership of today, either at the state level, at the national level, even beyond, that has to do with how we can build good leadership and the future of this great country? Judging by all you are saying today, because I can see you are pained, you are not happy that things are not going the way they should, like you had wished.
I strongly believe with right leadership we'll get to where we are going. A good example, when I started my birthday, the first educational institution I gave benefaction to was Yaba College of Technology. Today, to hear that Yaba College has been turned into a university status is a joy to me. It was a molding ground. It molded many people. It provided, and for 78 years it has done so. So now that it's a university, that is the turning point for that type of institution. The same thing with the number of universities that we have. It's not the number per se, but entrepreneurship now is a compulsory subject in every
institution of learning today
in Nigeria. It has gone so far that now we're encouraging the small SME enterprises. Give them access, give them the knowledge, and what is NITA's dream is to encourage technology. So given all this, I think the turning point of Nigeria will come through entrepreneurship, through leadership, through opportunities and challenges and innovation.
Well, sir, let me now bring you back home. You have been described by so many as not only a super, or so to speak, a seasoned administrator, but they added that you are a super administrator par excellence, looking at your profiling of activities, of what you have done dedicatedly, transparently, honestly, in service to the good people of the state when you were in service. And I recall you did say from the findings we made that you were privileged to have met the man you love so much today, your mentor, the former first civilian governor of Lagos State. May God grant him eternal rest.
Amen.
Alhaji Lateef Kaode Jakande, at the house of Professor Akin Wabogunje in Ibadan. And you said you were surprised after that meeting that he challenged you. He said to you that he gave you the offer to suggest suggestions that will develop and open up Lagos for business. And when he became the governor-elect and elected at the 1979 election as the governor of the state, you were surprised that he called on you and appointed you as permanent secretary, economic development under the office of the governor. You said it was a surprise. Why was it a surprise?
It was a surprise in the sense that I was not part and parcel of the campaign team. I went to Ibadan purely on official assignment. I was in the house of Professor Mabugunje, and he just introduced me casually. That's a young man heading planning in Lagos State. I was actually young, but as I said, I was specially recruited with my background in economics with sociology, and I was groomed in the area of development economy. So when I had the opportunity of meeting Jakonde, he asked a simple question: what do you think about the future of Lagos State? I just returned from abroad where I studied economic planning as in-service training, and I was full of ideas. So I started rolling up the ideas to him, one after the other. Take for example, I said confidently that between Victoria Island and Badagry Beach, you have 180 kilometers. 180 kilometers of beach is a potential for tourism.
Absolutely.
And I said by the time Lagos State was ripe enough to develop the tourism potential, it will be more than Miami Beach. I went on to talk about the population drift. That it was not a cost, it's an asset to Lagos State. People are drifting to Lagos State on hourly basis, on daily basis. If well utilized, this will provide the labor to turn out the economy. I also mentioned about the population, that if you can go into housing, then housing deficit will go down. All these ideas I bought from my training. I didn't know those are the ideas Jakonde had in mind. It was after a discussion that he mentioned to my host, Professor Babatunde. He said that's going to be my right-hand man when I get into government. I didn't know he was coming in, and I did not know it. When he became governor, and he reported the following day, he made an announcement about his first 11, he called them, and I happened to be one of them. And I was specially named Economic Department in the governor's office. It never existed before that time.
So it was specially created?
It was specially created. And I was worried. Since I did not know him, I did not interact with him, I rushed to Lagos to meet my then mentor, Chief Olufalaye. I said, the new governor has created one department of economic department and made me the palm sec. What do you do with economic department in federal? Olufalaye was honest enough to tell me, Tunde, I would not know what Jakonde had in mind. But federal economic department, these are the things that they normally do. I was using that one to build up what my department would be. I didn't know I was creating problem for myself.
When you know you were having problems, yes, for yourself.
When I got to the secretariat, everybody was screaming. The new governor has been looking for you, asking for you everywhere. I said, what? And by the time I got to him, that was the question Jakonde asked me. He said, Tunde, what's happened since morning? I've been asking. I said, yes. You created a problem for me yesterday. You made an announcement about what had never existed. Economic department in the governor's office. I wanted to know what it should look like. That's why I went to Lagos to meet Chief Alaye, who was like a mentor to me when I was in young service. And he explained to me, Jakonde lost his school. He said, federal structure for Lagos State, forget about it. I have my own dream. I'm coming to Lagos with my own idea. Young man, sit down. That was the first time I got my working chart from Jakonde. He enumerated all the things I would do. The starting point was that Lagos ended at 1004 as at that time. That he will open it up to the boundary of Ekpe, which is what is the reality. To the right, to the left, water. You have to provide express route. How you do it is your own assignment. I have no time to engage consultants. You must look through the survey. He enumerated all the other things. It was such a long list. When I got home that day, what I told my wife in Yoruba,
translated in English to me, what, sir?
Meaning that you love job, but this is more than what you can cope with. I was to open up Lekki. I was to handle low-cost housing scheme. I was to look after the creation of LASU. The metro line of the alignment of metro line, I was to look about it. It was creating new local government. I must find money for them. All sorts of things listed under that department. And when I got home, I told my wife in Yoruba, this one had trouble. More so that the governor said he would not have time to engage any consultant. Look within the service of people who will help you. And that made me to step on the toes of my colleagues. To open land from here to Lekki, I would need a surveyor. So I would look at the Ministry of Works. identify a relatively young surveyor, I will tell Jack Conde, that's my target. Jack Conde will write the following day, post so and so to Economic Department, report to Tunde Fanimokun. To do that one, I will need an engineer to supervise the sand filling. I would also point out something. That was how I was getting my staff here and there. Naturally, all my colleagues did not take kindly to it. And they started me some of the names you are calling me. Super Pamsek, the deputy governor, this other thing. So it got to a state that the head of service, the late Dr. Femi Luis, called a meeting. Said, Tunde, everybody is complaining about you. You go in for accountant here. What is happening? You are building an empire for yourself in the governor's office. I said yes. And I listened to them. They were very honest with me. Some of those who brought me up in the service, and they said, so Tunde, we know you are on a special assignment in the governor's office, but it's not morally right for you to come to my department and pick some of my brightest officers. What will I say? I'm very sorry, sir. The people I got an accountant from, engineer from, surveyor, I apologized to them and I gave them my reason. By the time I enumerated my assignments, they could not believe that I was facing that type of challenge.
They didn't believe you.
They did not believe me.
I mean, they did not see what you were seeing.
Yes, and they did not realize, I just thought I was picking, creating an empire for myself. They didn't know the magnitude of the assignment. If you were in my position, the governor was to cancel 12 agencies handling land allocation in Lagos State. They will all be under you. How you manage it will be there. You are open to open up Lekki Peninsula 90 kilometers. How do I open Lekki Peninsula without a surveyor? How do I do the roads without an engineer? That is why I was getting the people here. By the time I finished my narration, they pledged to me, we'll even give you more than you require.
They gave their commitment and pledge.
And that was what made my work successful. They realized the volume, they realized the enormity, they realized the man there was not ready to spend money, and they were ready to help me. For the first time of Jakonde, they all helped me so much, I made a success of my assignment. The second time of Jakonde, he changed all the permanent secretaries except myself. He now moved my ministry, my department from the economic department to a full-fledged ministry of land matters. Anything on land matters will pass through my office. And I had no commissioner. I was reporting directly to the governor. 2 other departments, ministries are reporting through me. So the term of Super Pams came naturally. You had no commissioner. 2 other
permanent enormity of the task ahead of you.
But fortunately, I was able, with God's guidance and with support of my colleagues, to make a success of it. And that's what I'm celebrating. I was given enormous responsibility, which, God willing, I was able to carry out. I'm moving to the private sector. Chief Olawiyo again gave me a very big assignment, which, God willing, I've been able to nurture.
So the tag, the name Super Pamsek, keyed in because of this extra super responsibility given to you by Mr. Governor at the time.
To even add more to it, the deputy governor of blessed memory, Alhaji Jafuju, told me to my face that ESCO members call you deputy governor because Jakonde will not do anything without involving you. And that if he became governor, I will also retain you because I know what it means to that one. So even the jury deputy was called me deputy because of the work I'm doing and no other thing.
And understanding they've come to see.
Because Jakonde was well focused. He had no time for any frivolities. And I was able to fill in the gap for him. Jakonde told people at ESCO, Tunde Fanimokun is somebody who will ask me to sign on a blank paper and I will sign for him.
Because of integrity, transparency,
and
honesty that you
and devotion.
That you
and that's what I enjoy from him.
You represent according to some public schools of thought.
Thank you.
All right, Excellency, let us look at this again. Can we say, or should we say, that enormous task given you by the then first civilian governor of Lagos State, in the person of a man whose fondest memory will always recall, late Alhaji Lateef Kaode Jakonde, gave you that name again as the architect of modern Lagos? That is another thing from another perspective of the school of thought that we have researched, and they confirm that it is not out of place to say that you are the architect of modern Lagos. When they saw the beauty of what is being celebrated today in Lekki, Ajah, and all of that development, are we right to say that?
No, it will be an exaggeration. I was part and parcel of the architecture.
You were part and parcel of the architecture.
Started with Mobolaji Johnson, who opted to get 6 graduates as foundation for civil service of Lagos State.
And you were one of them.
And I happen to be one of them. From day one, he influenced us so much that he was giving us a special assignment. So I started my career in Lagos State on that very beautiful note of high expectation, of integrity, of devotion. That was what I was doing by the time Jakonde came in. Jakonde needed somebody as his right-hand man, and he found me suitable. So what I did for Mobolaji Johnson was exactly what I did for Jakonde. Somebody to support him to achieve his visionary leadership, opening up the Lekki Peninsula. You know, I'm marveled today when you hear about people that go to opening up the refinery in Lekki Peninsula. If it has not been opened now, how would that one happen? What about the free trade zone? What about the Lekki port? All these things, those are signs of visionary leadership. Started by Mobolaji Johnson, nurtured by Jakonde, and fortunately sustained ever since then. So I'm not the architect, but I participated in bringing up the architecture.
The architecture of the modern Lagos.
And that is giving me joy today. At 80, I feel highly fulfilled.
At 80?
At 80, I feel complete, and I believe I must pay back to the society what I have benefited from. All the charities I'm doing, I did not plan them before. It was only a year to my birthday that I said, wait a minute. Whatever resources God had given me, they are meant for a purpose, and that is to nurture the future of Lagos and Nigeria. And that's what I'm doing, no other thing. I have no other special interest.
And one thing that came to mind here, Your Excellency, is the fact that the mere mentioning of Oniru Estates, the mentioning of Fulawiyo conglomerate, the mentioning of Banana Island, and so many prospective projects ahead being proposed, your hand is written on them. And people keep asking, why are you so committed to ensure that humanity is given the best of your best while you are still alive? They said I should ask that.
It's a good question, because every success is a challenge for greater success.
Every success is a challenge for greater success.
And the secret of success is consistency of purpose.
Can I take that again, sir? Can you please take that?
The secret to success is consistency of purpose.
The secret to success is the consistency of purpose.
From conception to completion.
From conception to completion.
That is one of the guiding principles I have. If I start a project, I will have thought about it, the end result, where we are going to, the implementation panel, the critical part analysis, the problem. So I see a problem at the end from the beginning. As a result, I've been successful in virtually all the major projects: Banana Island, Osborne Foreshore, Oniru Estates, opening up this other thing. There are challenges that we think about from the beginning. So you have a critical path analysis. You know where you are going. There is no problem without its own problem.
There is no problem without its own problem.
Yes. And the way you see the problem is the problem. The way you see the problem is so magnitude, I cannot do it, you will not do it. If a problem that I must do, if it's conceivable, if it's achievable, then I must do it. And that has been the secret of my success.
If it is conceivable, achievable, then you must do it.
It must be doable.
That is the secret of your success.
And that is why what I did in University of Ibadan on Friday, centered on that.
Friday.
Yes. I'm giving them, among the things I'm giving them a chair in project management. I feel disturbed when we hear there are about 56,000 projects abandoned in Nigeria. It speaks volumes. That must be tying down resources. That might be a waste of time. That might be non-employment. And I ask myself, what is so secret about project planning if you can do it very well? So I'm now endowing that chair and involving the Chartered Institute of Nigerian Project Management. They are forming parts of me. I'm doing the funding, but they are bringing their practical experience into it. So that in future, they will now have a program for university to have graduates in project management, concepting a project from the beginning to nothing is impossible if you're given the right time. You have challenges, you have problems, but if it's conceivable, if it is doable, and that is my philosophy. And if that is a club, and I'm devoting that chair in memory of Oboniru, because as you mentioned, I left government, Jakonde trained me, Olayo took over, Oniru asked me to come and help me manage. I said, and I accepted. And for 26 years, I was in charge of Oniru Estate.
For 26 years?
26 years. I was the chairman of the executive committee. We started from Road Morocco, doing the sand filling, the road, the British International School, the shopping mall, etc. So projects has been part and parcel of my life. So that's what I want to leave the legacy for young ones coming to be given the right training in project management. It is not impossible. As I said, a good role model is Singapore. It was turned from a third world country into a first world within 30 years, all because of the right leadership. So with the right leadership, I think we can get to where we are, because all other variables are there. We have everything, agriculture. You drop something here and it will start growing. All sorts of things that we have. The weather is favorable. The other thing, we don't have all these human problems. So I think leadership is the missing link.
All right, we'll take a quick break here. Your Excellency, when we come back, we'll take it from another perspective.
Thank you.
Well, viewers at home, let's just take a quick break and we'll come back. We'll take a look at other perspective of this narrative with this iconic enigma that is a referencing of what anything you want to think about in terms of developmental economics is all. It's what you want to talk about, to administration in the state public service, to being a philanthropist and more. This and more will come after this break on Issues and Trends with Obafemi Craig. We are talking about a man of great strides, a man of great giant strides, so to speak, a man of great reckoning with outstanding reputation and integrity of honor. They call him a developmental economist, and that makes me happy. And some said he's a super bureaucrat administrator par excellence. And I said, wow. And others said, well, what else? If not say again that he's a philanthropist by every reckoning of the word. Aside being an entrepreneur and a man who said, quoting him, I am a strong believer in entrepreneurship, to him being a community leader, a father of the state, the Agbaki of Irulan. My guest is no less a person, but Chief Tunde, His Excellency, Chief Tunde Fanimokun. Sir, again, is a great honor.
Thank you very much.
Now let's take a perspective of a new narrative here. You have been doing so much to institutions across the state, even beyond Lagos State at the national level. Yaba Tech is one of such that you've done a lot about, committing so much into it to give it a place of reckoning. Again, your name is also mentioned at the Lagos State University, where the Vice Chancellor, Professor Ibiemi Olatunji Bello, MNI, MPOM, you know, on the sideline of a 3-day national conference, had to welcome you, you know, to the university, where, of course, to the glory of God, you also surprise the university institution, and you were welcomed, and you also served in very how do I best put it, but the point simply here is you gave a commitment, in yet another commitment of your philanthropic gesture and nature to that great university. And it is on record that your coming was the beginning of another new dawn, a new horizon for Lagos State University. How does this make you feel, sir, with all due respect to you, Your Excellency?
Number one, as I said, my 80th birthday was planned to launch my foundation. I formed my foundation 12 years before, and I made up my mind that the gift of Almighty God, my aptitude, my skill and knowledge, I would devote into improving the society. So turning 80 last year was the takeoff of my foundation. And I started by saying that I'm going to do endowment for nothing less than 15 educational institutions. 2 of them on education on scholarship basis, and 13 of them individual universities. Those that you mentioned, they are just part of it. We also have the Summit University, which I'm doing on the 1st of March at Alhaji Fanimokun's place. I'm endowing 2 chairs, one for Alhaji Okunu, one for Folawiyo, for Summit University. I've done Yaba, I've done Lagos University, I've done Ibadan. All others are listed, including the Crescent University in Abeokuta. So what I'm doing is a mission that I planned 12 years before I turned 80.
That you planned 12 years before you turned 80?
I formed my foundation in 2012. And my objective was that the good talent and training that I've got, I want to use in making money for a foundation that will carry out my mission for me. And that's precisely what I'm doing. So a year before then, I formed the committee headed by Professor Badamosi. I said, by the time I'm 80, I want to give back to the society the reward of my integrity, of my work and everything. And we planned it. But we are working on a very modest scale. But as God will have it, a year to now, I was richly blessed by the Almighty God. Unbelievable source of wealth that I could never ever use fruitfully on my own. So I thought that what is it? It's an assignment to me from God that I use the money. So the money I'm using is only 1/2 of what I'm getting from one island, and I'm making 3 islands. I call my children, I won't leave this thing for you, I will spoil you. Don't become the Rockefeller family that they go into all sorts of things because the money is there. No, I'll give you what will make you happy, but the rest is to the society. So what I'm doing is in line with my vision. And my foundation, I named it DSC Foundation. DSE Foundation, Divine Stock Exchange.
Wow.
That is the concept.
Divine Stock Exchange.
CSC will not register it for me. I said that's what I wanted. They started playing with the word divine, environmental, Nayowala. My concept is Divine Stock Exchange. And that means the money I'm using is divine blessing. It is inexhaustible. Even after my life, I will leave the foundation that will continue to do the job. In respect of education, empowerment, that is the mission. So what I'm doing now is the beginning of a long-term mission. Started 12 years ago, and now that what I'm launching, I call it, for your benefit, a small giant and a green tomato.
A small giant and a green tomato.
The small giant means that even the biggest tree started as a seed.
Absolutely.
It will grow. So what I'm planting now is just a seed. No matter the enormous amount of money, it's just the beginning. In years to come, my foundation will be doing far more than that. That's the idea. The green tomato, in the sense of management balance, green tomato is normally eaten, except for some special dishes.
Delicacies.
So if it's a green tomato, it means that it's a long run journey that I'm starting. Now that I'm alive, for as long as I'm alive, and subsequently after me. So that is the mission I set up for myself 12 years ago. And a year ago today, it is almost unbelievable. A project that I did 30 years ago, they brought it to me to help fine-tune and do it. And I'll forever be grateful to the governor of Lagos State. By the time I made the presentation to him, and he saw the vision and mission, he gave me his blessing. So the resources I'm using is not from my pocket. It's not that I've studied somewhere. It's not back only, it is just coming. And it's coming in unbelievable amount of wealth that will be there. So the total I'm giving out, if you can put it off record, is 30 donations in all, 35. And I'm giving out 45 billion naira of my own money. It's not anything, it's not secret money, I'm not involved in so, but I'm rounding it up on the 12th of April. That is when you are going to play a second role. The one you are doing now for my family, they are going to pick your bill. The one for that day is my own. Then you are going to join the others to make it a permanent something and know that the foundation has come to stay. And that is what I'm doing.
And we can only say, may the good Lord bless you.
Amen.
And keep you long enough.
Thank you.
Touch and impact more lives.
Thank you.
Than pending when God will say it's time to come home and rest.
Thank you very much.
Now, we will not end here, Your Excellency. Like I said, a research was well researched. This 1 hour will not be enough to speak with you, even though we have our challenges. But let's still take one more. We may come back to complete the rest.
Okay.
Because this is not the time here is not enough for us. But today, to the glory of God, you have been respectfully respected and honored with the title of the Agbaki of Iruland. Appreciated, valuing your communal service to the entirety of the community of this kingdom, and your name resonates with the entirety of this kingdom. In all of it, as a community leader, by virtue of who you are again in all the perspective of reckoning, how is it like, and what has it been like serving this community you belong to?
Number one, I'm a highly reserved person. Highly reserved in the sense that I'm not the outward type. Secondly, as a civil servant most of the years, a senior civil servant was meant to be seen and not to be heard. So whatever you have, but now that I'm out of civil service, now that I'm an octogenarian, I want to pay back to the society some of the benefits I've acquired. I acquired them very, very silently, and they all form part and parcel. Number one, sense of satisfaction, inward satisfaction.
Sense of satisfaction?
Yes,
inward satisfaction.
Inward satisfaction. You will not envy what does not belong to you. You are to do your service without expecting any reward. Selfless service is the strongest bond within me and Jacondi. Philanthropy is the strongest bond with me and Folawio, and entrepreneurship run across the two of them, plus Oboniru. These are some of the things that come together to make me what I am today.
Well, viewers at home, it is on this note we want to very specially thank you for being part of this first interactive session with very distinguished, eminent, enigmatic, iconic elder statesmen of today by every context of the word. His Excellency High Chief Tunde Fanimokun's interview series on issues and trends with Obafemi Craig. We thank you for today. You will see the concluding part again up a week, but this Thursday work you have it on, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you for being part of it, and we'll see you at that time again.